Hi everyone, welcome back to .NET in Minutes. In the last video, we built a simple web API with two endpoints. Today, we'll take the next step. We'll connect our API to a real database using SQL Server and Entity Framework Core. This means that instead of just returning text, our API will return and save real data. Let's get started. Okay, so to work with real data, we need a database. I'm using SQL Server on my computer. If you don't have it, you can install an SQL Server Express for free. I will open SQL Server Management Studio. This is the program where we can manage database visually and run SQL commands. So now, new database, name it my first DB. And after that click OK. Now we have a new database called my first DB. A database is like a big container that holds tables. Tables are just like Excel sheets. They have rows and columns. Each row is one record and each column is a property. In this query we will create that table. So we are writing create table users ID, type int, primary key, and identity 11. ID is a primary key and it uniquely identify each user. Name is envarchar 100 and email also an envarchar 100. Here I create a table users with ID, that is the primary key and uniquely identifies each user. Identity 11 means SQL will auto-generate the ID starting from 1, and the name and email are text column, and varchar 100 means text up to 100 characters, and N means it supports Unicode, so we can save names in any language. That's it look like. Okay, so in the next part we have to install Entity Framework Core package. To connect .NET to SQL, we'll use this Entity Framework Core. This is called an ORM, which means we don't have to write SQL queries every time. Instead, we use C# classes and Entity Framework Core translate them in SQL. So we have to enter in Visual Studio Tools NuGet Package Manager and manage NuGet Package for solution. So we have to search for Microsoft Entity Framework Core SQL Server and install this. Install, and after that we have to search for Microsoft Entity Framework Core tools. Let's see, tools, and install this. I accept, and everything is set up for the next part. Now we have to add a connection string. We need to tell our API where the database is. We do the using a connection string, basically an address to the database. So in app settings, we will write connection string, and after that default connection. So we have to modify something like server because we are on a local server. Local host we will write, and at the database we will write my first DB. The one we just created, trusted connection through use Windows login instead of username and password. And after that we will write trust server certificate, and we will set as true uh, this trust server certificate avoid certificate warning when local. So that's all here. We will finish everything, and let's see in the next. So next we have to add a new folder named model, and here we'll create a class named user models, because this represents the table user from SQL. This is column model, is one class that map to the table from SQL. So here we will write the column from SQL, public int ID. Let's see, it's very intuitive, and public string name and public string email, equal string dot empty, because the first one has to be empty. Okay, each property match a column in the SQL table. Entry framework core will map this automatically. You don't have to do anything. Okay, now we need to a class that represents the whole database. This is called a DbContext. We have to add a new folder named data, and here we'll create the class app DbContext. We'll name it. This class tells entity framework core which tables exist. So right here, app data context will inherit from DbContext. We have to create a controller with DbContext options. App context we'll name it options. Let's see. Okay, now I need options, and the base class will be the base method will be base options. Okay, and after that we have to write public dbset user model is down here. User model, name it users, get and set. This will match the user table. Practically dbset user is a collection of user object. In SQL term, it maps to the users table. Okay, so now we have to tell our API to use this DbContext and give it the connection string. So in the program.cs we will write here, after add swagger gen builder.service sys dot add DbContext. We will write our DbContext app DbContext. Okay, after we write options and mapping to options that use SQL Server. Let's see, it's very intuitive. Builder configuration, get some get connection strings, configuration, get connection strings, and default connections. That's all, and will be good, I hope. Okay, so for the next part we have to create a controller that talks to the database. Add controller, we'll name it users controller. Instead of returning hard-coded string like in the first video, we'll return real users and real data. Let's see. So we have to add API controller and root API controller. Okay, and right now we'll write the constructor, add app DbContext because it have to inject DbContext here. We will speak about dependency injection in the one of the next lectures. So an async method task I connection result and get users. About asynchronous part we will speak of again in one of our next lection and in the uh, theory part podcast. Okay, so var users await dbContext that users to list async. Let's see, very intuitive. And after that we have to write return OK users. This will return all users. Okay, let's go to the next part. Public async task I action result, and we write create user because here we want to create a user with parameter user model user. Okay, so we have dbContext that user that add user. After this we have to save what we add, dbContext that save changes async, and return OK user. I recommend every time to use async methods, and stay tuned because we will explain everything about this, believe me. Here, because it's a get method, we write http get, and after that at the create, above the create we will write http post because it's a post method. This have to be the controller just with create and get all. In the next lection we'll speak about the rest of the method delete and update, and again get by ID methods. Don't forget to tell you that context that users to list async is the select from users in SQL, and add users insert into users. Okay, let's start Swagger, and here we have users. Try it out, execute. Okay, we have an error. Okay, what is here? Login failed. Let's see where is the problem. we have to enter to SQL and connection database. In app settings we have okay, I wrote localhost, not the full name. That's the full name. Copy, paste here. It was pasted. Perfect. And if you click on the red flame, I think is the hotshot that reopen the Swagger without closing. So it worked. 0 result. Let's see the create. The ID you don't have to modify. I recommend you to don't modify. Let's see name user1 and email user around gmail.com. Execute, and this user is added to the database. Let's try again. User2 around gmail.com. ID in the first part was 1, now is 2. Let's see all users ID1, ID2, everything is good. Great. So in this video we create an SQL Server database and table, installed Entity Framework Core, added a connection string, create a model and a DbContext, build a user controller with get and post, and tested everything in Swagger. In the next episode we will expand this to a full CRUD with update and delete. If this video helped you, smash the like button, subscribe, and comment what database you want me to cover next: MongoDB, PostgreSQL, or SQLite. See you in the next one, guys. Love.